Do you want to help somebody else? Here is a very powerful and very simple technique, idea from the Rebbe, from this week's Torah portion, of how we can help other people change their lives, and at the same time, how we can have a great reward for it. Ready? Here we go. In Leviticus 14:34, Parshas Metzorah, this week is Tazria Metzorah, it's two parshas together. It says here like this: Ki tavo l'eretz Canaan asher ani noten lachem la'achuza. When you come to the land of Canaan, which I'm giving you as a possession, v'natati nega tzarat bevet eretz achuzatchem, and I will place a patch of tzaras. That's a hard word to explain. I'll explain in a minute. I'll place this tzarat upon a house in the land of your possession. Basically, Hashem is going to put tzarat in the houses of the people that are living in the land of Canaan. So when the Jews come and they conquer the land and they're going to take the houses, there is going to be this tzarat in the houses. Tzarat, we translate it sometimes as leprosy, lesion. It's some sort of a skin disease, but it could also be on a wall. So it's a patch of a lesion or of leprosy on the wall. And when you read the verse as it is, it sounds like good news. In Hebrew, the way it's read, Ki tavo l'eretz Canaan. God is letting the Jews know, when you come to the land of Canaan, you know what's going to be. I'm going to give leprosy on the walls. It doesn't, in the Hebrew language, the way the verse is written, when it sounds like a positive thing, it doesn't really resonate with what it says here. So the Midrash says, and Rashi brings it, that it was actually good news. Why? Because when the local tribes that lived in the land of Israel, the Canaanites, when they heard that the Jews are coming, they knew what's going on. They knew the Jews got out of Egypt, they're coming back to the land. They left. They knew that it's time to run away, but they were planning to come back. Some of them were planning to come back. They thought maybe just like God is decreeing on them that they should be expelled, and here come the Jews. Maybe the Jews will get God angry later, as actually happened many years later, and they will be expelled out of the land as well. So they were thinking, okay, right now we're running, but we'll be back. So what did they do? They hid all their gold in the walls of the houses. So when the Jews came into the land and they conquered some of the houses, this didn't happen everywhere, but it happened in some locations, then there were actually houses that had gold in the walls. Now, they didn't know about it. The Jews that came into the land didn't know about this. But when they got the laws that are written in this Torah portion, that they had this leisure on the walls, this tzaras on the walls, and according as we read later, the specific laws of how we deal with it, but basically we have to break the wall of the house. That's what happens in a case like this. When you break the wall of the house, you find the gold that was hidden. So really, it is a b'sorah, it is really good news. This is a famous part of the Torah, with a Midrash, with Rashi. The Rebbe asked a very simple question here. There's a long sicha, a long essay from the Rebbe about this topic that I'm just going to give you the last conclusion of the whole thing. But let me tell you the topic of what he's talking about. The question is very simple. The Midrash, which is the source of this in a particular story that we're learning, the Midrash is quoted by Rashi. But the Midrash says the Canaanites are going to hide the gold in the walls. And Rashi is changing, instead of Canaanite, he said the Amorites. There were 7 nations back then living in Israel, that the Torah keeps repeating those 7 nations, their names. Usually when we refer to all of them, even though only one of them is called Canaanite, but when we refer to all of them, we say the Canaanites, and we mean the 7 nations. That's how it is in the Torah language. So the Midrash, when he speaks about this, he says the Canaanites. But Rashi changes from the Canaanites to the Amorites, Amorim. And this is the question the Rebbe discusses in this essay. Why does Rashi take the opinion that this case with the gold hidden in the walls, happen only with the Amorites. And it's a very long essay, and he brings different reasons and different ideas. But I want to go with you just to the end of it. And the end of it is the bottom line, the conclusion, what the Rebbe takes from this whole episode after he is discussing the legal issues and the text analysis of the Midrash. Then he gives us the pnimiut, the mystical meaning of it. And that's what I want to share with you. It's very short and very powerful. So Rashi says that this whole idea of leprosy, whether it's on somebody's hand or whether it's on somebody's wall, and we're talking about biblical leprosy. This is not medical leprosy that people have today. It might be similar, it's the same word, but this is a spiritual disease. And it's the one that's in the Torah is a spiritual disease. We no longer have it these days. It only appears when God's consciousness is much stronger in the world, in the times of the temple and in the future. And what is the cause of it? Well, the cause of it is when a person speaks Lashon Hara. When a person speaks bad about another person, for no reason, just to badmouth another person, there are many laws about it. It's called Lashon Hara. Speaking negatively about a person is the cause of getting leprosy, whether it's on the body or on the clothes or on the walls. And as it explained, that just like when a person, what's the idea of a skin disease? Why is it not a disease that is different within the body? Why is it on the skin, which is the outer part of the body, or the walls of the house, which is not the person itself? So the commentators explained, because when a person speaks negatively about another person, what they basically are doing is they are only looking at the external part of the person. They don't look at the entire picture. They don't take a wholesome picture of the person, a soul, a body, the situation they're in, their challenges, the way we should help them. All of this is not taken into account. There's a very specific tunnel view, so to say, only on a negative part that they can see without taking the whole picture. And so it's an external approach to another person, which causes them to speak negatively about them. Therefore, the punishment is also in the external part, in the skin, which is external to the body, or in the clothing, or in the walls. But the cause of tzaras, the cause of this leprosy, is Lashon Hara, speaking negatively. That's why it says the Rebbe, this is the Amorites, not just the Canaanites, the Amorites, because Amor is from the words the Alter Rebbe brings in the Likutei Torah, that Amor is from the words Emor, to say, to speak. The Rebbe says Lashon Hara is not only speaking negatively about another person, that's obvious, but it's even more. The Rambam, he brings from Maimonides, that it could also include just speaking nonsense, just wasting the power of speech in talking about things that are meaningless and having conversations about nonsense, basically, about things that are not important and are not necessary to speak about. From there, a person slides to speaking totally negative. So even though we could have a conversation that is not negative about anybody, if it's not a focused, conscious, good, positive, holy conversation, that's also included in Lashon Hara. So Amorite is a person who just keeps on talking, babbling, and saying all kinds of shtuyot, all kinds of nonsense. That's also a problem. How do you fix this problem? And this is where we started with. You want to help your friends. The way you speak, the way we fix the problem is we use the power of our speech to only say good things, especially when it comes to other people. When we see that a person is acting in a negative way, not only should we refrain from saying something negative about that person, it's more than that. If we see that something is wrong with them, then we should try to help them. How we're going to help them? By speaking good about them, by taking the exact opposite, even counterintuitive approach, by saying, okay, I see this person as a problem, instead of talking to my friend about it and say, oh, you saw Moshe, you saw how he's acting. Instead, I should try to help them. If I saw that there's a problem, then maybe I can help fix it. How am I going to help fix it? First of all, by not talking negative, but even more, by speaking positive, by looking inside the other person and searching for a positive quality that they have and speaking about it. And when we do that, says the Rebbe, something unbelievable. Just like in Israel back in the ancient days, what it says in the Torah, when they broke the walls of the Amorite, meaning, what does it mean they broke the walls of a house of an Amorite? They broke the energy of speaking, of babbling about other people, because this is what the Amorites were involved in. And this is why they were thrown out of the land, because this is where they failed. Emory, that they failed in speech. And because of that, they left. And by the Jews coming in there and breaking the house, meaning that they changed this behavior. Instead of speaking negatively about another person, they're speaking positively about another person. What did they find? They found gold. You want to find gold, says the Rebbe? You want to find spiritual gold as well as physical gold? Speak good about another person.